Welcome to the Wandcast. It's the chapter-by-chapter reread of the Harry Potter series with a looped craft brew on the side. I am Aaron, and I am here with my two very favorite Hufflepuffs of all time. Nate and Jade, hello.
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 On this episode, we are saving the goddamn day through chapter 21 of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Hermione's Secret.
Fuck yeah.
In this chapter, we hear Snape's version of what happened tonight, and Dumbledore vaguely hints on how to set things right. Harry and Hermione revisit chapters 16 through 20. Now let's get into it, because of things to talk about, we have plenty.
Okay, well done. Pretty
Not my
good.
best. It's not my best. Because I didn't have enough time to go on it, because this one chapter covers the previous 5 chapters.
Yeah, this one's a little fucking crazy.
Oh
It's
my goodness.
almost an hour long in audiobook form, and then it does go through the chapter like another cycle through. So it's a great in case you forgot.
Yeah.
Which I kind of did, but also downside, it kind of confused the shit out of me. And I also realized if you're about to do what we're about to do and really tear it apart,
Oh, yeah.
it does get very confusing.
Well, I think to alleviate some of our confusion, quick reminder of where last chapter ended. Lupin wolfed out, Pettigrew escaped, Sirius, Harry, and Hermione got caught by some Dementors.
All the bad things happened.
Yeah,
Everything that's been happening, just worst case scenario.
Except a wizard who looks suspiciously familiar to Harry saved the day, but before Harry could really see who it was, he passed the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like a bitch.
Also interesting to note is that Ron fully incapacitated at the end of last chapter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is interesting to me that at the end of every year so far at Hogwarts, first book doesn't go through all the way to the end. He
Taken
passes
out.
taken out.
Stopped at the chessboard.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Last book, Hermione taken out because she's a fucking cat, right?
No, she got
she was petrified. She was
petrified.
petrified
Yeah.
at the end of the year. So she couldn't be with them, and then Ron got stopped by the brick wall. But
Yeah.
number one,
Mm-hmm.
you're only down to 2 at the end of the book. Here again, Ron's passed out, so we don't have a third person. So they need to take better care of each other.
All right, so we said we got a ton to get into, so let's get into it.
Let's just get right into it.
Yeah. Now, so Harry finds himself in the hospital wing. He kind of wakes up and he's very groggy and he's overhearing a conversation from outside, and it's basically Snape's version of what happened earlier this night. And Fudge is even telling him, like, hey, for all the trouble you went through, because, spoiler alert, Snape's versions of events, boy, he was a goddamn hero.
He was a goddamn
He
hero.
saved everyone. And, Fudge even says, like, hey, Order of Merlin second class, maybe even first, if I have any say.
Yeah, Snape got the bad guy, the big bad that everybody's been worried
Serial
about.
killer.
He is a hero right now. This is best case scenario for Snape. Fuck this school. I'm just going to live out and be like a dark knight.
Now,
Yeah, I'm a monster slayer. No big deal.
I mean, it is funny that he's like, I am the hero, but like really what happened is I just gathered all the passed out bodies and carried
Yeah.
them up here.
Yeah.
I just kind of showed up at the end and cleaned up.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
his is like, oh, I showed up, could clearly tell everyone was confounded, had to fight with, teenage, couldn't hurt them because they're my students, but they were, black, bewitched them to fight
Yeah.
me. I had to deal with a werewolf, and I had one arm tied behind my back from earlier in the day. Like, I killed it. Snape also goes into a little bit more when he's talking to Fudge about his viewpoints of him as a teacher. And I'm going to ask a question. He says that he tries to treat Harry like any other student. And I'm wondering how true this actually is. So far in the book series, we have only had potions class with Harry and the Gryffindors with Slytherins. We have never seen potions with Hufflepuffs or Ravenclaws. Do we think Snape does actually treat Harry not that different than he treats any other Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, or Ravenclaw? Does he just show favoritism to Slytherin?
I mean, I think that's a gross overstatement because I think that, overall, the Slytherins get favoritism over all the other classes, but I think it's very obvious that there's venom towards Harry. Like, he's not going to say that to Fudge, but we all know that there's venom and feelings towards Harry, and he does talk to him and treat him in a different way than he does No, he's shitty towards all the Gryffindors, but there's a heavier hand of the shittiness towards Harry.
It compounds.
Yeah.
Right? He's kind of a dick in general. He's probably just less of a dick to the Slytherins. And then he really doesn't like Gryffindor, so a little bit more there. And then you've got the Harry factor. So Harry may be on the peak end of like Snape's dickishness. I think it is all kind of on a curve. And from Harry's viewpoint, he is an absolute asshole, which he is. I mean, he is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But like, how do we think Snape treats Ernie Macmillan, a third-year Hufflepuff?
Like an idiot.
Probably like he's fucking annoyed.
Like, if he does well in potions, Snape doesn't treat him bad. Like, do we think it's probably just more performance-based with the rest of the students?
No, I don't think it's even performance. Like, I think even if you're doing good, he's probably like, okay, I'll give you like a passing grade, but I'm not going to tell you did good.
Oh, I mean, good for Snape.
Yeah.
So he's good for Snape is just not actively hostile.
I'm just saying, Hermione does good in his class. Like,
Yeah.
she's good at potions, and he treats
True.
her like shit. So I'm
Yeah.
guessing that
Very
he
true.
probably just does that for everybody.
And he treated her like that from day one before she was like fully associated with Harry. So that's not even like catching strays.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was just curious because and spoiler alert, we never get a potions class that is not Gryffindor and Slytherin in these books. So we're never going to know how Snape treats the other students.
Oh, we're going to put a little pin in that because I want to come back to that at the end of this chapter.
We do find out a lot about Snape and other students later in the book. So that's for a later discussion. But once Harry finally wakes up and gets his bearings, he immediately gets up, which sets Madame Pomfrey just in a spiral because fucking Harry never stays in the hospital wing as long as he's supposed to.
To be fair, he passed out because of Dementors, which, okay, yeah, traumatizing, whatever. But he didn't fucking fall off his broom. He didn't have a traumatic body injury.
Yeah, he just needs chocolate.
Yeah, he just needs a little rest and some chocolate. There's nothing wrong with him being everyone being like, oh my God, you need to lay down. No, I think it's okay. He might just be a little bit sad, guys. It's fine.
I love every time Harry and Madame Pomfrey interact.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with what you're
love it.
saying.
Yeah. Well, all of this commotion between Pomfrey and Harry attracts the attention. Fudge and Snape were outside. They were, the door was prompt. They were listening to him. Well, now that they know Harry's awake, Fudge comes in, and Harry tries to tell him the real story. And now, do we think we would have believed Harry Potter in this scenario?
I think no, but also concerning the subject matter, I think you shut the fuck up and listen for a second. I think it frustrated me listening back because as an adult, when you're just a kid and you're like, no, you're not listening to me and getting steamrolled by adults, it fucking blows. And when something as important as an innocent man's life is in the line, I feel like all the adults in the room need to stop. They need to listen to the child, get the story, and then be objective about what the information he's telling them means.
Yes, because you need to, okay, what led up to this?
Or at least I want to add, a good adult would do that. That's not what happens.
Yeah, you need to figure out what happened, because if you're, the kids were all involved, they got confunded, how did they end up in the Whomping Willow? What led them to the Whomping Willow? Do we think Lupin actually was working with Sirius all year? Did Lupin groom these children and get them to go down to the Whomping Willow to be at risk of Sirius Black? Should Lupin be being arrested at this point now too?
Yeah.
There's an investigation that should be had.
That's what I'm saying.
It shouldn't just be a knee-jerk, okay, well, we've got the guy now, right? It was one thing when you're like, okay, shoot to kill if you have to, because we got to get the guy one way or another.
Yeah.
Now that you got the guy, you don't have to kill him. You have time.
Exactly.
Now, granted, motherfucker got out of the space, the inescapable. So I get
Very
that.
true.
But keep an eye out. Keep 6 wizards point it at him and say, we're gonna figure out what the fuck happened here. You don't need to jump to conclusions and murder people, or well, not murder, but like suck their souls out of their bodies or whatever.
It's just a permanent thing.
Yeah.
You can't undo it. So just hold the fuck on a second. Let's get all the information. And if that's the route that you decide to go, well, then it's got to happen.
It's still there, yeah.
You know, exactly. You always have the choice to go farther. But once you go that far, there's no coming back.
Right.
Well, and I think this really shows the character of Fudge, because we've learned that one of his jobs before he became minister was like crime scene response. Like he said, he was one of the first people on scene after Black murdered, quote unquote, Pettigrew and all those people on the street 12 years ago. He should know the importance of like, this is a new crime scene now tonight. I'm going to get statements. I have a suspect in custody.
You have to gather evidence.
But he doesn't. He is more concerned with his public appearance. You know what one of the running themes in Harry Potter is? The government blows at their jobs. The Ministry of Magic rarely does anything helpful in this book series.
I think as a kid, not necessarily as a kid, because I read all of this while I was older, but my first read through was like, these guys are just kind of silly and bumbling. And then, you know, on this read through, it was the first time that I realized why Fudge wanted all this to just stop. It's because of his public image and like the importance of that. And like, he wasn't just bumbling and goofy. He was being a pretty typical guy in that spot. You know what I mean?
No,
it's not as endearing.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, you know, this conversation between Fudge and Harry and Hermione and Snape gets interrupted when Dumbledore comes in. And, you know, he tells everyone, like, hey, he does the good job of crime scene investigator here and says, I need to talk to the witnesses, please. Everyone else, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Which Pomfrey, rightly so, a little pissed off because it's her hospital wing.
I also want to note that he says, he comes in and he's like, I just came from speaking with Sirius Black. And I was like, alone? Dumbledore is just wandering around doing this investigation by his goddamn self. There's nobody with him. Fudge didn't go with him to go go talk to fucking Sirius Black and hear his story. Cool. The serial killer is like giving evidence and then nobody else cares to hear it.
There's
Yeah.
no other
He's like-
witnesses there.
Yeah.
The man who escaped out of Azkaban has the lightest security ever once he's been caught again.
Just chained in a room.
Dumbledore does get his way. He gets a few minutes alone with Harry and Hermione. And, you know, the two try to explain what's going on, try to tell him the truth. And he's like, guys, calm down. I believe you. However, Sirius Black does not act like an innocent man. He broke into a school with a knife. Man, outside looking in, that's not good optics.
Like we've said, he should have been singing like a fucking canary this whole time, being like, Pettigrew.
Yeah.
It was Pettigrew the whole fucking time.
So now Dumbledore kind of shifts his attention from Harry to Hermione and says that it is currently 5 minutes to midnight. Last episode, or a couple episodes ago, maybe, I brought up that maybe Lupin can't transform until he gets like the first moonlight after midnight. And it's not even midnight yet.
Yeah.
So it's not that. I'm wrong. I was wrong on that. My theory, kaput.
I kind of had a couple of notes about that. Like, is it moonlight or time-based? And it does seem to kind of flip-flop back and forth as to whatever's kind of convenient for the story. But also, they bring up the fact that, look, even if he could transform into a guy, no one's going to listen to him. And it's like, yeah,
For
that's
Lupin,
the fucking
yeah.
problem,
Yeah.
because no one's listening to the kids either. The problem is no one's listening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Book theme, guys.
Yeah.
Fucking listen.
Listen and ask why.
Just listen.
I was like, oh yeah, as a 13-year-old, having one of your most trusted adult advisors look at you in a moment like this and tell you, hey guys, yeah, you're absolutely right. But there's nothing we could do.
Yeah.
We don't have the proof. The courts, nobody's gonna fucking trust you or the other people. So
Yeah.
tough shit. This is where you start going, fuck authority. I am so done
You're never
with
gonna
all of this.
trust anybody
This-
ever again.
This is where you look at your friends and you go, fucking magical reform. This is what needs to happen. Like, I am not going to conform to your fucking rules. We are going to break the wheel is what we're going to do. Fuck you guys.
For now, we are going to take a little bit of a trip here soon. And I need beer before we do that.
I do too. I'm confused now.
Yeah. I think better when I'm not sober. So we are going to take a quick little break, and we'll be back right after this. Nate, what are we drinking today?
Today, we are drinking Zombie Ice Undead Double Pale Ale from Three Floyds Brewing Company. Crafted with an unholy amount of Citra hops, this double undead pale ale heralds the zombie evolution after the dust has settled from the apocalypse, as we all know has happened late in 2020. This one is clocking in at 8.5%. Jade, just a pre-warning, 55 IBU, so not quite as bitter as the last one, but I'm guessing on a scale of 100, that's still... well, literally more bitter than it's not. So just be warned.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've been discussing this now because this is not the first undead pale ale we've had. We don't know if they're just using undead instead of India, and it's a fun play, or if undead is somehow a subcategory of pale ales.
They've
that
double
we've
infused
never
it with
heard before.
carbonation, so there's more bubbles.
They
I don't
use
know.
formaldehyde in the brewing process.
Yeah. What's the one cyanide? Just a little bit of cyanide in there.
Just
Yeah.
the hair.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, it's an IPA. It tastes like an IPA.
I will say the smell of this one is a little more citrusy, and I think
I
I
can see
enjoy the smell of this one better than I did the last one.
But
I'm
think,
almost thinking too. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I feel like the taste is. I don't taste citrus. I only smell it. I don't know. It's a weird thing going on.
Yeah.
But like, this is a 7. 7. It's been 7 sunrises since the apocalypse. That's what I'm rating. It's just all right. It's good. There's nothing that is gonna make me. Maybe they should both be 6s now, because it's like there's nothing special about this to make me buy it. But it's good. I don't know. I need to define my scale better.
I think I'm kind of with you. I'm going to give this one a 6 only because I like the lighter and crispier nature of this one. I think the flavor is a little better as well, but it is pretty much the same one. I think it's just a little crispier, and I like that.
You know what I think we need just for our own visuals while we're doing these, and I'm going to try and keep this very short, but I think that we each in front of us should have at least 2 scales, right? One for overall flavor for your own preference, and then one for within its own category. How do you feel about it? And just so that we can both and get a rating of like where you are normally. We just have a little thing in front of us that we can move our little scales around while we're talking.
I thought you were going to say we need to make a giant board of every beer we've ever drank with our ratings on it.
No, that's insane. I think that this is a 3.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I think that the other one, the zombie dust, there was a nice flavor behind the bitter.
Yeah.
But then I
That
got
one
a
had
lot
malts in it too.
But then I got a lot of the afterwards. This one doesn't have the nice flavor, so it's all that IPA flavor.
Yeah.
And then there's really not a whole lot of the.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, there's not a happy flavor, but I don't have the. So it's like it's fine.
It is strong. I mean, it is a higher percentage, so it's interesting that it's not more of both. That it's only more of one.
Yeah.
But
but
hey,
it'll get me drunk, so I'll drink it.
I would be curious to see if this brewing company did things other than IPAs and pale ales. Because with that last stout we had, I know this is not the same one, but I'm curious to see what other stuff they have up their sleeve.
Yeah. Hey, maybe we can find that out sometime later. I think right now, time to get back to the book.
Hell yeah.
We are back. And spoiler alert, everyone, we're about to do some fucking time travel shenanigans. Dumbledore instructs Hermione that 3 more turns should do it, or 3 turns should do it. Sirius is locked in Flitwick's office, which is up on the 7th floor. 13th window from the right. If all goes well, you will be able to save more than 1 innocent life tonight. And then he, reminds Miss Granger that must not be seen. He says it twice, that you cannot be seen. He leaves. Harry is confused as fuck.
The fuck is going on?
Hermione just says, hey, come here. Hold on to my necklace.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You're going to explain something. I'm just saying. You don't. This motherfucker starts saying this stuff, and then you just grab me, and you're like, "Come on!" And no, what's happening?
The last 2 years, I have almost died very near the end of the school year because of some bullshit that I didn't quite fully understand. Hermione, no. You explain to me now.
Yeah, you don't get to do some magical bullshit to me in my body without me knowing what you're gonna do.
This is the Homer Simpson speech. Hermione, once in every friendship, you get to say, I need you to explain this to me.
Actually, that works out really well because Harry is constantly doing this to his friends. So it's like the one time it happens back to him, oh, Jade, I'm in full agreement. If I'm Harry, I'm saying, you gonna stop the fuck what you're doing right now and tell me what's going on. But no, like as soon as he grabs her necklace, she flips her little necklace thing over 3 times. Harry has no time to object because before he knows it, he is in the entrance hall because not only did they time travel, they also teleported.
Yeah. Apparently this feels like moving backwards quickly.
Yeah.
This is Jade's worst nightmare.
Yeah. Ew. Ugh.
We rode Exploration Everest at Disney.
Expedition.
Right? Expedition Everest. It's like the Yeti and shit, and you go up a mountain, and then partway through the ride, it like fake breaks because the lines are cracked, and then you rush backwards down the mountain in the dark. And Jade did that ride once and was like, fuck that. I am never doing that again.
Nope. It messes me right up.
I don't think I've ever done like a backwards ride, so I can't say how I'd react to that, but that sounds appropriate.
Yeah, if you ever face backwards in a car and you open your like if you're fine with that, that's great. But for me, it's real bad. It's not. I can't do it.
It's a pretty wild sensation. After going fast forward and all of a sudden you just stop and boom, going just as fast backwards. Ugh. I like roller coasters though, so let's go.
They stop. Okay, when they're done, as soon as they're done, Harry's like, what the fuck just happened? She says one sentence and she's like, we just went back 3 hours in time. Literally, you could have said that beforehand.
Yeah, say that on the way.
Well, that was right after she pulls him into a closet. Pulls him into a broom closet and then goes, hey, by the way, we time traveled 3 hours into the past.
Yeah.
And now we have to, she tells him we got to be quiet because someone's coming. Because again, they're in the entrance hall now for some reason. I'm not sure. Okay, we'll get into that later because we have questions and we don't have enough time in this chapter to drill down on timey-wimey stuff.
I think I understand that part.
Yes, they have gone back 3 hours in time, and Hermione is explaining that they, as in Harry, Ron, and Hermione, are also currently leaving the entrance hall under the invisibility cloak, and they're on their way down to Hagrid's hut, while Harry and Hermione are currently in the broom closet. And like 13-year-old Harry, I remember the first time I read this being very confused because time travel's weird.
Yeah.
But there's 2 of us now. There's 2 of me. There's 2 of you. There's 2 of all of us.
There's 2. Well, yeah, kind of.
We are
technically
Legion?
There's 2 of just you if you're time traveling. This is where, okay, this is kind of where, and I know we're still very early in the chapter. There's a lot to go, but this is kind of where I start to come off the rails with a lot of it because in the chapter, we now have to keep track of 2 sets.
Yeah.
Of Harry and Hermione, and you have to really remember the timeline through the last few chapters, which, spoiler, I don't always. And so I'm like, wait, what the fuck? And it's just kind of like the end of a movie, a Transformers movie, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
There's a crescendo of music, a lot of metal flashing, and then at the end, hey, good guys win. It's fine. And you're like, I don't know what happened, but cool.
I'm not sure who punched who.
Yeah. Punches were had.
Yeah.
It was fine.
Now, Hermione does explain that the necklace that she has is a time turner. She got it from McGonagall, and that is how she has been able to do her schedule all year. She goes back in time to take more classes. Because of course you do, Hermione.
Yeah, and she got it from McG, and McG gives all the kids dangerous shit, i.e. McG fucking rules.
Yeah, I really like McG. Gives Harry a Nimbus, gives Hermione a fucking time travel device.
Yeah, like, this is the perfect balance. Grumpy teacher, but actually cool person, right? Snape is just all the shitty sides of this. McG gives you a hard time, but then is like, hey, man, check that out. Boom, go have fun.
It is wild that she was like 13. Yeah, you know what, Hermione, you're ready to do this. And that she didn't wait till she was like 5th, 6th, 7th year to be like, here, take this, take some extra classes, and bang some of this out. She's 13 at this point. She's like, yeah, go ahead. You can handle the stress and the responsibility of a fucking time turner.
I wonder if the naivety of Hermione was actually a selling point, where they're like, no, she's 13 and loves nothing more than to read school books. She's not even going to think about going and changing time for anything other than to see her classes. She's 13. She's smart and very dumb because she's 13.
Yeah, I'm just thinking this should be a tool that they're used for like the upperclassmen to like, hey,
study for newts. Hell
or like, hey, beef up your resume. Like, you want to get some extra classes done. You want to do something cool in the magical world other than just being a blue collar magician. I don't know what the fuck. We don't ever get into this very much.
Practical magic.
What did the normal people do? Yeah, whatever. But yeah, you want to do extra classes. You want to go into like college courses. Yeah. Fucking take a time turner, knock out some extra classes.
As Harry and Hermione are waiting for the coast to clear, because again, they must not be seen, Harry is able to piece it together that Dumbledore's instructions were so they could save both Sirius Black and Buckbeak.
Yeah.
They are going to have to fly on Buckbeak up to Flitwick's office to rescue Sirius.
Great problem solving there.
Yeah,
he put that together super great.
Harry has fantastic intuition. Like, when it's like, hey, we need someone with a strong gut instinct, like, Harry is the guy to go to out of most of the characters we've seen so far.
Gut instinct because he doesn't pay attention to shit.
Exactly.
So it took Dumbledore being like, Harry, check it out. Here's a puzzle. He used thieves' cant on Harry and Hermione. He's like, I'm not going to say the thing, but I'm going to say a very weird thing, an odd thing that sticks out to you, and then send you on your way. Hermione knows what's going on. Harry's just like, oh, we're going on a secret mission? Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
No idea. And he's like, I'm in. Let's go.
Well, now that they know what the mission is, they realize that they need to go down to Hagrid's hut to save Buckbeak. And Hermione, I believe if my count was correct, at this point in time, when they have a discussion on why they can't be seen by their past selves, I believe it's 5 times that it's brought up. Dumbledore says it twice, Hermione says it 3 times.
Super important. It's like the one rule.
Yes. And, she explains to Harry, like, Harry, what do you think would happen if you just burst into Hagrid's hut? And he goes, well, yeah, I'd think I was mad, or I would think dark magic was at play. And Hermione goes, yeah, exactly. That's why we can't be seen. But she was seen all freaking year by everyone at Hogwarts every time she took a class.
I got this one. While Hermione was being seen, she was in the alternate timeline, which means Hermione wasn't being seen at the same time, or both versions of her weren't being seen at the same time by the same group of people.
Correct.
So she didn't break the rule. But that was. We'll get deeper into that.
Yeah,
That's
okay, yes,
what
you're
we're
right.
gonna,
You're right.
But
I said this floor was yours.
in general, while she was doing the timey-wimey stuff, she was in a different place and not being like expected at any like. She would have been at a place where people aren't traveling back and forth between because of the classroom situation, right? So it's feasible that she could be in 2 places at the same time. Jade and I had a conversation earlier about the problem happens where people talk to each other. Oh, we had 2nd hour potions. Oh, we had 2nd hour care of magical creatures. Hermione said the weirdest thing. Wait, how the fuck did that happen? And then that's Patreon, my man.
Yeah, there's. I've been doing a bit of research because, look, not a lot of it's going to be new info because this is all on the internet. We've had a decade and a half. I don't know.
There is a lot
of people have talked about time travel in Harry Potter. So we are going to focus on the other events in the book. And they stick to the shadows. They wait until past trio. They leave Hagrid's hut. Harry and Hermione stay hidden, and they do the smart thing. They make sure that like the executioner and Fudge see that Buckbeak is in the pumpkin patch, because otherwise they would just think that Hagrid let him free.
Yeah.
They do successfully rescue Buckbeak. There's a lot of close calls because, like Harry said, they had like maybe 60 seconds to get Buckbeak out of there, but they are successful. And, Hagrid is innocent still.
Yeah.
Because they saw him tied up. So when they say, like, hey, he must have got free.
They passed him on the way in, and Hagrid has done everything. He has agreed. He's not happy about it, but as far as they know, he is totally compliant and did nothing wrong.
Well, and McNair kind of gets upset because he's like, oh, we got to search the grounds. And I appreciate Dumbledore here because he's like, McNair, it's a fucking hippogriff, dude. You think they're going to steal him and then walk? No, they're going to ride him. You got to go check the skies. And then he goes, come on, Hagrid, give me a fucking brandy.
What I thought was hilarious is Harry and Hermione looking at each other in the forest and going, why the fuck didn't we climb on it and fly him away?
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, we are actively being idiots right now.
Yeah. What kind of dumbass would walk a hippogriff away? Harry and Hermione are just like, fuck us.
And it's even better. It's kind of good on a couple of levels, right? Because they have the secret mission. Part 1, rescue Buckbeak. Part 2, get up to the 7th floor window and rescue a dude. You have a thing that flies now. Kind of part 1, this is very James Bondy, right? It all flows together. So the natural course would be to take the hippogriff and fly. But then they say, do you think they're going to hide in the woods? No, they'd be flying. So those dudes walk outside, and where do they look? Up. But you're hiding in the woods. So actually, it could be advantageous for them to be here, but also, dumb.
Yeah.
Because they could, if they just speed ran it, it would have been fine.
What we needed for this time travel thing was a Steven Soderbergh-esque multiple windows heist breakdown.
Ocean's 11 kind of.
But yes, they do. They successfully rescue Buckbeak. Part 1 of their mission is complete.
And it is wonderful because you still hear they hear the axe hit the thing.
Yep,
they hear they hear Hagrid sobbing, but now they can hear his words.
Yeah.
So it's still everything happened the same way.
Yes.
But now they know that he wasn't crying because he was dead. He was crying with joy.
As far as Harry and Hermione are aware, based on what they can remember, nothing's changed.
Right.
Because they never saw anything happen. They only heard it. They heard the axe hit.
Yeah.
And they heard Hagrid sob. And now this time they heard an axe hit. And they heard Hagrid sob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they got more details this time. And it's like, oh, so did this happen the first time too?
Yeah. Has anything changed at
Yeah,
all?
it's always happened this way.
Interesting when we get into it.
I also, this secondary way we're looking at it, pretty problematic to have an emotional executioner. Just going to say that. Dude with a big axe. Like, you need to be a very level-headed dude, not invested in really what happens to the person you're killing. Like, you've got to be totally separated from everything. You're just coming in, you're doing a deed, and you're walking. And if you get the call from the governor, you got to not do that. But this guy being so angry he doesn't get to kill anything right now that he thuds his axe into a wooden stump. No, I don't like him.
This is somebody's piece of shit friend who they got hired to fucking do the execution. He's... You know how
just
they
some
say,
guy's buddy. I know a guy with an axe.
Yeah, and he's got anger issues. He's perfect.
He got it from Harbor Freight. It'll be fine.
Here's step 1 of how to hire an executioner. Put a wanted ad out that says we want an executioner, and then everyone who signs up for it, don't fucking give them the job.
Yeah.
I don't think you should want someone who wants to be an executioner.
You give that list to the police.
Yeah, I think it's like with power. Like, anyone who wants power, don't give it to them.
And then you should probably, you go to the police too and be like, look, I was looking for an executioner. I should probably be in jail too, actually.
It is also interesting. I don't know if they mentioned it already or whatever, but McNair he's the one that does this, but they also have him coming to administer the kiss on Sirius.
Yeah.
So
I think he's not just executioner. It sounds like he's maybe just on the committee or is just on ministry payroll.
And it
It's
might
interesting.
not. Well, he might not normally be there, but he's just like performing the job because he's there. But they're just like, he kills animals. He could do this. This is fine.
Yeah, maybe it is that it was just like, oh, well, we know McNair doesn't mind killing animals, so we'll get him to do it.
Yeah.
But yes, Harry, Hermione, and Buckbeak, they find a spot to hide because now that part 1 is successful, the only thing they have to do is wait. They have to wait until Sirius is captured before they can rescue him because, like Buckbeak, they kind of need to make sure that everyone else remains innocent, and you can't change time. You can't be seen and you can't change. That's why it's important that why we brought up that from Harry and Hermione's perspective, nothing's changed. They heard all of the same things. So Sirius has to get captured still because he did get captured. You know, like he already got captured.
Yeah.
So we have to let him get captured again.
We're here to
Oh.
rescue him.
Oh.
So the capture has to happen in order to rescue him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't rescue him before he gets captured.
Right.
Yeah. So they get kind of, I think they go like behind Hagrid's hut, and they do. They just kind of, they wait it out, but, or they get to a spot where they can see the Whomping Willow.
Yeah, they get
Because
a
they
good
need to
view,
keep an eye on things.
hang out, smoke a J.
I was going to say, 13-year-old Aaron is definitely trying to find probably one very specific way to pass the time with Hermione at this point.
Oh my God.
Well, that's what I was going to bring that up earlier, but we kind of zoomed past it when she pulls him into the closet.
The broom closet?
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Harry's been so
Oh,
aloof
yeah.
this entire book where he's just like, oh, now? And just starts macking on Hermione. She's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
You know, Hermione.
I thought that's what this is. No, we're doing some important shit. What's the matter with you?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Well, look, I think the important thing, I feel like what Harry and Hermione are doing at this point is they're kind of doing like a stakeout. And I think if I were to do a stakeout, I'd probably want a few beers.
Of course. What's the point of a good stakeout if you don't have beer and snacks?
That's what I'm saying.
Come on.
I think we're going to re-up on our beer and snacks here as we prep for the stakeout. And then we'll be back right after this. We are back. And yeah, we're with Harry, Hermione, and Buckbeak as they are kind of just waiting. Because again, as we established, they do have to let Sirius get caught again. And now, you know, they kind of, I don't know if it was Harry or Hermione that bring it up, but one of them, while they're waiting, brings up the fact that, oh man, it's too bad that we couldn't grab Dumbledore, you know, because unfortunately, you know, Fudge and McNair would come with him. And I think Hermione says, like, you know, Fudge would probably tell McNair to kill Sirius as soon as Sirius is seen. You want to know when Dumbledore wasn't with Fudge and McNair and Hagrid and a bunch of other people, though? Back in the hospital wing, when he told you to go back in time, he was by himself. Not really sure why he couldn't have just came along for the whole adventure. Seems like Dumbledore would be a good person to have in a time travel heist.
Maybe it's one of those things where he, like, if they were to be caught, or he needed to be accounted for right now so that on the record he could be like, I was here the whole fucking time.
I think that's what it was. He went out, he shut the door and locked it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he could say, I locked them in there when he walked away. And then when Fudge and everybody comes up, the door is locked when they walk up to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he had to go with them, or he couldn't go with them because he had to be on the other side of the door locking it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And side note, there's a lot of, okay, I'm locking the door now and then going downstairs in this chapter for no reason.
Yeah. I just feel like Dumbledore would have been able to make it work out both ways. As Harry and Hermione are staking out the Whomping Willow, they see Lupin run out of the castle, go under the Whomping Willow, and, you know, because we know, you know, he joins the trio and Sirius in the shack very soon after this. Jade, you had a point on this, that he, a werewolf, just ran outside on a night he knew there was going to be a full moon without taking a potion. Jade, the floor is yours.
I mean, you said a lot of it.
Yeah,
I guess.
I kind of took it away from you.
So I got to try to figure out. Okay. So Yeah, he goes out there, and the moon is already up, obviously, because they say that it is just covered by the clouds. So he's fine. But obviously, it's already up, so he didn't take his potion yet. He didn't think about taking the potion before he ran out, which is super irresponsible, but also leads to the question about why or how the transformation happens. Like, why can't he just stay inside with blackout curtains or something?
I mean, we kind of talked about this before with the Shrieking Shack and how he's inside the shack, but the transformation still happens. So then the fact that he's like not touched by the moon and fine, it's weird.
Yeah, you're talking like when he was younger, they would bring him out to the shack to transform.
Right, and that would still happen even when he's not being touched by the moonlight.
Well, to me, did they purposefully open up the windows? So like, is it bad if you don't let a werewolf transform when it's moonlight, maybe? It'd just be nice to have more info. I think that's the main point.
It's inconsistent.
Because, Harry notes that. You know, he sees Lupin come down, and he looks up, and, he thinks, we get the narration of clouds were obscuring the moon completely, and that means everything's fine.
But also, and I think more to Jade's point, that he's been doing this for years. And there's like pain and uncomfortable feels that leading up to the change and stuff, because it has to do with the moon, and it's like cycles, not necessarily physically where the moon is touching the ground.
Yeah.
So this is something that happens to his body regardless. He's just taking steps to make it safe. So the idea that he's just going to run out without taking his pill is like wild to me, because he'd be taking his potions and stuff ahead of time too.
Even if he took his he should have taken it.
This is on his fucking calendar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He should have taken the potion far before that moon was up in the sky. And also, even if he had taken his potion, he shouldn't be running out, right? Because the thing is, normally I'm going to take it, I'm going to lay down locked in my room still.
Helps him feel better and feel more himself while the transformation happens. And throughout his experience there. So he doesn't wild out and fucking kill somebody. But 100% right. This would have been taken care of already.
And I thought Lupin was super cool when I was younger. But looking at it this way, there are multiple teachers in the school. There are multiple other adults in that school. And this fucking man ran out where the moon can touch him, apparently, just by the whim of the clouds. He could turn into a goddamn werewolf at any fucking second. He ran past Dumbledore. It was so short between when Dumbledore ran up into the castle and Lupin runs out. So he literally ran past Dumbledore and was like, I'm gonna go wolf out real quick. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna there's gonna be more time to get into it next chapter too, because I think something else happens that highlights how, as an adult, Lupin he went from being one of the coolest people in this book series to one of the most wildly irresponsible people in the book series.
You can be both. You can be both good guy
true.
and wildly irresponsible.
Well, I was going to argue you can be cool and wildly irresponsible. I'm starting to almost get to the point where I'm not sure how good of a guy he is.
But he's not brave. It's not like bravery in irresponsibility, right?
True.
It's like cowardice.
Exactly.
Almost, most of the time.
Yeah, which is maybe why you don't hire him as a teacher. But anyway.
I don't know. We'll get into it.
Hey, this all ties back into the choices that Dumbledore makes hiring teachers.
Oh,
and we've discussed that before.
Yeah. Well, as they're waiting after Lupin, disappears, Harry thinks to himself, hey, if I just run and go grab the cloak real quick, because that way Snape can't grab the cloak. And, Hermione once again says we can't be seen, grabs him, and Hagrid immediately comes out of his hut and apparently would have just seen Harry if he was trying to grab the cloak, which I don't get, because they left from the back of Hagrid's hut in the past and then made their way to the Whomping Willow. And it says Hagrid comes out the front, and I think they're hiding in the forest. I just don't see a layout to where Hagrid leaving the front of his house would see Harry getting the cloak at this point, but we don't have a fully canon Hogwarts ground picture, so I don't know.
But also, sorry, go ahead, Nate.
I was just going to say, this is the number one reason why I couldn't be trusted with a time turner.
Yeah.
Not for intention's sake, but Hermione's got to remember a lot of shit.
Oh, yeah.
This timeline is on a second by second basis in her mind right now. And this
Yeah.
whole conversation happens in approximately 8 seconds. And in that 8 seconds, she remembers everything that's supposed to happen, says, Harry, no, pulls him back, boom, door opens. And it's like, this is Matrix level shit.
Well, and
This is your call from the guy who is like, look over your left shoulder.
Yeah. And her thing is just like, no, don't do anything because we can't be seen. Where Harry's like, okay, we can't be seen. Where's the wiggle room in that? You know, Hermione is way too literal, you know, of like, nope, follow the rules. You got to, we know Harry likes to bend those rules.
Motherfucker, we just stole a hippogriff.
Yeah.
So we can do some shit, okay?
Yeah.
We can bend the rules a bit.
I think
all right.
We're Harry, we've had instances of Harry's like, well, fuck, I'm already in trouble. Might as well just dive deep into it.
Yeah, we've done Grand Theft Auto tonight. Let's ramp this up a little bit.
Whereas Hermione's like, damage control. I already fucked up a little bit. I cannot fuck up more.
And my argument for this all would be like, there was a lot of time before Hagrid came out in the first place, and these motherfuckers ran across the grounds earlier.
Yeah.
And just were like, run really fast. It'll be fine. And there's a whole castle full of people who probably looked out and saw you. And I mean, I know it's not them seeing themselves, but the whole point was don't be seen at all, right? That's why we don't want Hagrid to see us.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say, Dumbledore never clarifies. Make sure you don't see yourself. He just says, don't be seen, period.
Yeah.
So maybe it is you can't be seen by yourself more than anything else. But then, we kind of move on, and so Harry's like, oh shit, yeah, it was probably a good idea I didn't run out there, and Hermione reminds him, see, I told you, you would have been seen apparently if Hagrid came out of his hut. And then it does mention that barely 2 minutes later the castle doors open again, and that is Snape running towards the willow. He grabs the cloak and disappears. So Harry can't change anything there. Snape's got the cloak, and timeline, pretty intact so far.
We know where that heads. Yeah, he's going to go in and sneak up on everybody and then reveal himself. And then we're going to do this all over again. Is it that there's an alternate universe? Holy shit, we do not have to go super deep into this. Is there an alternate universe where Harry and Hermione do this cycle forever in between the two universes? Is that how loop shit works?
I think
that there's one version of you that kind of technically lives forever now because you went back the one time?
Yeah, it's a weird loop. I think that they split in that moment. Like time stopped for them in that second. They split. So there's a second part, and I think this is my theory. This is why they have to show back up at the right time, because if they don't, there's a missing chunk of time where they aren't their one self. It hasn't come back to where their present self was.
You don't exist for a minute.
Yeah. So you got to come back into the timeline at some point.
God. If I ever become a wizard, it's my plan to do the Jet Li the one thing where I'm going to find that infinite time loop. And I get, look, okay, either A, I beat Voldemort at his own fucking game and just figured out how to live forever, dumbass. Or B, just like Jet Li the one, you just keep going back to that place, killing yourself and getting stronger until you're super wizard. And then probably just don't even need to worry about that
Hey,
shit.
pal. Not if. When you become a wizard.
Yeah.
We're going to make it happen.
I have a wand. I'm halfway there.
Well, we are now fully at stakeout time. There is nothing to do but wait while everything happening in the shack plays out.
Did you bring the snacks?
I was going to say, we should have brought cards, right?
Oh, God. Snacks, cards, drugs. That would have been great. No, instead, we just have to ask each other questions. And Hermione takes this opportunity to kind of go over hey, pal, Harry, well, we got a few minutes. What exactly did happen down by the lake? Because I passed the fuck out and then woke up in the hospital wing. Do you know what happened at that moment? And, Harry tries to dance around the topic because he has a theory of who cast the Patronus. And, Hermione keeps pushing it, and he finally does admit that he thinks it was his dad that cast the Patronus that saved them. Now, he knows it's crazy, because Hermione, not wrong, but you're a bit of an asshole, just kind of goes, hey, Harry, your dad's dead, though.
Yeah, that stung a little.
I also think it's super condescending for Hermione at this point to be like, hey, bud, your dad's dead. Because you know what?
Yeah.
You know what happened earlier tonight, Hermione? We did see somebody come back from the dead.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Somebody
Holy
who
shit,
turned
yeah.
into an animal came
Yeah.
back from the goddamn dead. My dad turns into an animal. I found that out tonight, too. Okay, you fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Who knows what the fuck happened the night my dad died? No, everyone came to an exploded house and me there by myself. Okay? Did they
This-
find my dad's body? Did you see my dad's body? Did you? Did you? No? Shut the fuck up.
This is Frodo with the ring right now, where everybody starts looking at him and
Oh, yeah.
Harry's thinking of his dead parents. Give me the fucking time turner, Hermione. Just let me hold it, would you? She's like, no, fuck off, Harry.
Oh, yeah.
He's
yeah.
definitely going to grab this thing and be like, 11 years. What is that, like 100 turns? And just fucking disappear.
Okay, 3 turns is 3 hours, 24 hours in a day. How many days are in a year? How many years are...
Harry
Yeah.
Potter becomes Batman. Go back and save the parents. Kill the Joker. It's all one and the same.
Now, and, Harry even quickly, I mean, he agrees with Hermione. He's like, Hermione, I know my dad's dead. But then he does. He has a bit of an inner monologue moment, and he says, like, well, yeah, I mean, Wormtail came back, and everyone thought he was dead. So is it so impossible that my dad did the same thing? But, he kind of does give in to Hermione, at least vocally, of like, I know, like, but, I mean, that's what I thought I saw.
But that hopeful thinking is there, and goddamn would that hopeful thinking hurt you.
Now, Harry brings up a pretty good point because he wants to move. Hermione immediately assumes that it is because Harry wants to like go do something. And he goes, no. We need to move because when everyone comes out and Lupin turns into a wolf, he runs where we are currently.
Yeah.
So move your goddamn ass, Hermione.
We are exactly in the way right now.
Yeah. They finally head over to they go back to Hagrid's hut
Yes.
to hide. And you brought this up earlier, Jade, and I think it's very important that we bring this up right now.
Yeah.
We see Fang for the first time, I think, in the book.
First time.
He starts barking, and they're like, be quiet. And I'm
Yeah.
like, where the fuck has he been this whole time? Nobody brought him
Chapter-
up the whole fucking book.
21 of 22, we see Fang for the
Yeah.
first time, and he gets told to shut up. No.
Yeah.
No, go pet that dog.
This is crazy fucked up. And okay, so just assuming that us three are the trio, right? The deal is that we'd be running, Jade would see Fang, we would stop. And all of the important shit, like we wouldn't have the time, okay? This would not work out. I would be super stressed out and would probably make this call. However, we would stop and be like, we are going to force 2 minutes to pet Fang. And it's funny, as we came down here to the studio today, Jade's sister actually showed up with a puppy.
Yeah.
And that exact same thing happened.
I got to pet the dog.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
maybe the stakes were a little lower, but she was just like, hold the fuck on. We're petting this dog.
Everyone got to pet the dog. We all got licks from the dog.
God. absolutely.
That
It's
was
a
such a
puppy.
cute dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just wanted to, this is hilarious. It's unfortunate for Fang. By the way, Hagrid gets a whatever, and then Fang's kicked out. That's bullshit.
Yeah. Also,
Man and dog.
who's gonna
There's
give
a
us-
reason that's a thing.
Who's going to give a shit if they hear Fang bark? Pretty sure Fang barks all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, like Hagrid is telling the Fang to shut up all the time. No one's going to think it's weird if a dog barks.
Yeah.
Don't tell a dog to shut up. Anyway.
It's mean.
It's also kind of funny though that they go put the hippogriff right back in Hagrid's hut. So if anybody's paying any attention to Hagrid's
Oh,
hut,
yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit, that thing's right back where it shouldn't be." Eh?
It's actually kind of a dead giveaway that he's got that thing in his hut, because otherwise Fang would be inside.
That's my next question. Where the fuck has Fang been?
Is
he just outside?
Either he's got a giant doghouse that we're not told about, and then I'm a little less upset. But I just like, I don't know. The hippogriff is not yours necessarily. Like it can, and we've heard that they just get to kind of freely go, and they're like creatures of consent, right? You've got to do the introduction to Fang is your fucking dog. You leave him in your house. The hippogriff should have the stable or whatever temporary place on the ground.
He has a paddock, but he can't stay in there because he's dangerous. So he stays in Hagrid's house and just shits in there and eats all the ferrets. That's what I'm saying. He has a small house. And,
okay, I guess under the
know.
temporary situation, I can understand. But if Fang has been out of Hagrid's hut this whole year until we've seen him just now, that sucks.
Yeah, he just needed an honorary mention.
Now, Harry once again says, hey, I think one of us needs to go out there and see. And Hermione immediately, hey, we can't be seen, Harry. I don't know why I got to tell you this all the time. But now Harry has a good point here. Someone should go down to the lake so we can see when Sirius gets captured. They don't know the timing of everything exactly. They just know they have to be back by 11:55. They have to be back 5 minutes to midnight. They don't know when Sirius got captured, though. They don't know what time it was.
Right.
So Harry is able to convince Hermione, I'm going to go down to the lake. And, he even says, he goes, I don't want to be seen. I want to do the seeing. I want to see if that was my dad.
We have one
cast
more
of
shot
fucking Patronus
to figure out who this mysterious person that helped us out was. And by all means, I want to fucking do that.
And we're going to, but not yet. We're tease. I guess it's just a tease. It's not a spoiler. We are actually going to take a quick little break because we want to give the remaining part of this chapter the time it deserves. So we will be back right after this. We are back with the remainder of chapter 21. Harry is down by the lake. He is now watching as Sirius gets trapped by the Dementors. He sees himself and Hermione run in. He sees feeble Patronus attempts by himself and Hermione. And, he's kind of just sitting there, staring at the spot where he saw the person before and is just okay, pretty sure it was right now. Okay, a Dementor's about to kiss me on the other side of the lake. Dad, where the fuck are you?
Kind of now or never, buddy.
Yeah. And then he has a slight moment of realization that he did not see his dad cast a Patronus from the other side of the lake. He saw someone who looks like his dad cast a Patronus from outside or from the other side of the lake. So Harry grabs his wand, steps out from behind the tree, and gives one fucking hell of an Expecto Patronum. Dementors basically just start going.
Yeah.
Because this thing just rushes forward, fucking knocking Dementors every which way, charging all over on him. And, he starts looking at it and he's like, oh, I think I think he said at one point he thought it was a unicorn. And no, it's not. It's actually a stag.
Yeah.
AKA prongs. That's the shape his dad took as an animagus.
Yeah. That's his Patronus.
Yes.
And it was him.
The whole time. So,
hang on.
Yeah.
I wanted to point something out real quick.
Absolutely.
While we were doing this read through, I had a bit of a moment with this because Harry is just it wasn't my dad, it was me. And then I said, well, actually, Harry, you're a part of your dad. So in the way that he was looking for his dad to save him, and actually he had to save himself, that instinct that he had to get up and do the Patronus, that was from his dad. It's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
His dad was there in the way that he made you and gave you that instinct to get up and save yourself. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Harry has his big goddamn hero moment. He saves himself, which is, I think, the biggest hero moment you can have. Kind of saving yourself.
Yeah.
That's a tough thing to do.
Who watches the Watchmen? Who heroes the hero type thing.
Who saves the hero? Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Trademark or whatever.
Well, you can't wait for somebody else to step in and save you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to save yourself. And, all the Dementors are driven away, and then Hermione, I guess, decided that Harry had been gone for too long, because her and Buckbeak come up behind Harry, and she's like, Harry, what the fuck are you doing? We had one job. Don't be seen. And he tries to explain, like, no, Hermione, remember? I said I thought it was my dad. So I didn't see me. I saw my dad. It's fine.
And once again, nothing changes because this all happened before.
Exactly. Yeah, like it already happened. So it's like, it's not a problem that it happened because it did already happen.
Nobody saw it before.
Yeah.
No one's going to see it this time but me, and I'm just over there.
So what you're saying is I can do whatever the fuck I want, basically.
I
Because
mean,
nothing
there's
bad
wiggle
actually
room.
happened when I saw myself.
I mean, it is bad because she did say, hey, let's not be seen, and he's doing the equivalent of shooting off magical fireworks.
Well,
right? Not very covert.
Yeah. He says about the Patronus, because she mentions, like, hey, that was some real fucking powerful magic. And he just goes, well, I knew I could do it this time because I already did it. Does that make sense? And she just looks at him and goes, I don't know. And yeah, that's kind of how it works.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I don't know.
Sure.
They then watch Snape arrive and conjure up some stretchers, binds Black, and, brings Sirius back up to the castle. And, now Harry and Hermione now have to go do the big save. They are going to go try to save the day. They climb up on Buckbeak. They fly all the way up to Flitwick's office, and they do exactly what they want to do. They Alohomora open the window, and which is nice. It's nice to get callbacks. We had Alohomora a few times, I think, in book 1, and I don't think we've heard it since.
Yeah.
No.
So,
Good reminder.
Good to have consistency, which a spell that opens locks. I feel like you'd use that almost once a week.
I'm still waiting for Wadi Wasi.
Oh, yeah, that very useful spell that we learned from Lupin earlier. Yeah.
Use that one to get the gum out of your locker.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then also throw it at someone magically? I don't know.
100%. All you got to do is aim the thing it's coming out of.
So, Sirius is trying to figure out what's going on, but now it's Harry's turn to do what Hermione did to him earlier. It just goes, shut the fuck up. Get on the hippogriff. We don't have time. Come on, man. No time to explain. Let's go.
We gotta go.
And, they fly up to a tower where they do kind of get a few minutes, but, like Harry says, like, hey, we're still on a schedule. You can go now. You, Buckbeak, go fly. And Sirius turns.
Fly, you fool.
Sirius turns, looks at Harry, and says, you truly are your father's son. And I want to take this moment right now to tell everyone that I am not crying and you're crying.
It's Scotland. It's damp. I have allergies.
Yeah. And Sirius is really nice too, like even right before this, because like he asks about Ron real quick, which this is where like, oh, Sirius is a good guy. To me, that's what cemented everything about Sirius's story.
Yeah.
Where it was like if I had any doubts in my head right now about like, is Sirius still like, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? He didn't act innocent. He was trying to murder someone this whole time. But it's like, nah, one of his first questions was like, is the other boy okay? He's like, yeah, he's just, Madame Pomfrey will fix him up. But yeah, just a beautiful moment between Sirius and Harry to end the chapter. Because they take off. And that is the end of this chapter.
I thought it was wild. Like, just thinking about Sirius, like, first of all, he's just, he's hanging out in a locked room. There's nobody else in there.
Yeah, he's
not
was
locked
by
at all.
himself.
He's not shackled in any way or tied up.
No.
They had to have spelled that thing.
Apparently not. She was able to open up the
Not the window.
They locked the
Didn't
door
open the
and
window.
it just goes out
They
the
were-
Wait. Real quick.
Uh-huh.
Dumbledore was alone with Sirius earlier. Didn't we say that?
Uh-huh. Yeah, we sure did, Nate.
That motherfucker.
He may have unlocked him.
He just... That's great. I also think it's hilarious. Sirius was probably sitting in that room for about 45 minutes, about to think he's going to die, and the door was just like open the whole time.
No,
No,
that's what I'm saying.
he would really truly was only alone in the room
I think it was locked in there.
for a few minutes. Because he
All you
got
gotta
put
do is just not lock the
yeah.
door when you
Well,
walk out of
right,
it, though.
but I mean, he got put in the room. He got questioned by Fudge, and so Harry and Hermione had to wait until they saw McNair go get the Dementors. That was how they knew it was time to go save Sirius. But that means that McNair went, Fudge and Snape are now like maybe in the hospital wing. Maybe Harry and Hermione, past Harry and Hermione, are just waking up in the hospital wing right now. Like the timeline's a little different. I think Sirius was being questioned for maybe 45 minutes.
Like Dumbledore just left him.
But I think Dumbledore. So I mean, I think Sirius is alone in the room for maybe a minute or two before Harry and Hermione
He doesn't go out the
save
door.
him.
They open the window.
Yeah, they open the window.
But that's what I'm saying. They couldn't have done that if it was locked, and it's not going to open from the inside. So Dumbledore, no, because it wasn't just Dumbledore in there while he was being questioned. Is that the case, or was Dumbledore in there? Look, because here's why it matters, and then we can move on.
Yeah.
If Dumbledore was in there alone with Sirius for even 5 seconds,
Which he was.
that's all he needed. He doesn't matter 45 minutes, none of it. If he was in there for 2 seconds, he could have left something unlocked because he knew what was going on. That's all I was implying.
Yeah.
Dumbledore needs to be viewed as keeping his hands totally out of this.
Yeah.
But if he had any opportunity to be like, I also told students to come here and rescue this guy,
Well,
so I'm going to give them the advantage by just not locking the door when I leave.
Well, I think,
you know what I mean?
I think also, the windows were locked, so the door might have been locked. But I think that the fact that he was up there alone, I think they thought, okay, he can't get out because even if he jumps out the window, he's up in a tower.
Yeah,
What's he gonna fucking do?
That's true.
Yeah.
And they did, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, they did have to Alohomora the window.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
I don't think that opens magical locks. I think that only opens
So
normal
maybe
locks.
Dumbledore just left it vulnerable to Alohomora because that's all a third
Or
student.
removed the magical lock.
There you go.
Nothing obvious though, because I think Sirius just sitting there going, "I'm gonna die," and then all of a sudden he looks over at the window. He hears tapping, and he looks over and he sees
fucking love that.
He sees fucking Harry Potter,
Yeah.
flying on this big giant ass hippogriff. Which who knows how much fucking Sirius has ever even seen a goddamn hippogriff before? So he's just like, "What the fuck is that? Hi."
This is the point in
Okay.
the chapter where you say, "Look, there's no time to explain.
Yeah,
I've obviously stolen this hippogriff. I'm a wanted fugitive, just like you. It is time to fucking go."
He's like, "The ball's on this kid. Holy shit. Okay, let's go."
I do want to clarify real quick because we are. This is the last thing that we have to say about this chapter. I was wrong because I think very quickly earlier I mentioned that Sirius was like, "Hey, what's going on?" That doesn't happen. Harry, the Alohomora, the window opens. Harry goes, "Get on. There's no time." Sirius gets on the hippogriff. He doesn't question Harry once.
No, fuck
It's
no.
not until after they get to the top of the tower and Harry's like, "Okay, now it's time to go." And he's like, "Just real quick." And Harry's like, "No, you need to go now."
Sirius immediately registers that hippogriff as escape vehicle
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
asks no questions.
I just think just the idea of looking out the window when you think you're about to die and just seeing a 13-year-old child on a hippogriff and being like,
Yeah.
okay.
And not just your godchild.
Yeah.
You're the one that you technically should have responsibility
Yeah.
over at this point in time. Yeah. But look, we could go on for ages. We have already gone on for ages. But I think for now, that's about all we have to say about this.
That's right. If you want to let us know what you think about this episode or this chapter, you can send an owl to podcastatt@gmail.com, or you can follow us on any of our social medias and let us know what you think there. If you really enjoyed this episode and want more things like this and more things like this that you haven't heard before, you can go to patreon.com/podcastatt and sign up for any of our tiers there. We've got live episodes. We've got a Discord for all of our patrons. We've got so much shit on there. And
all the things, actually.
That's right. We do have all the things. Everything we do is on Patreon. So go over there, get you some, and we can't wait to see you. I'd like to thank everybody for listening, and we'll see you real soon.
Get you some.